going on with your colleague Cory Booker on the floor, but we've been covering some breaking news in the Washington Post about the National Security Advisor's staff using Gmail. Washington Post is reporting that a senior Waltz aide used the commercial email service Gmail for highly technical conversations with colleagues at other government agencies involving sensitive military positions and powerful weapons systems relating to an ongoing conflict, according to emails reviewed by the Washington Post. Your thoughts to that breaking news?
Well, I have not been paying attention to breaking news. I have been on the floor of the Senate for the last 20 hours with Senator Booker paying attention to something extraordinary that he's doing. But, yeah, to the extent I'm hearing it for the first time from you, newsflash, these guys are incompetent. They don't know what they're doing. I mean, we hired a weekend Fox News host with no diplomatic or management experience, with a checkered personal history of abuse and alcoholism, to be our chief national security official. And it's going very badly. I don't know that anybody could have seen this coming. The reality is that, these revelations are really worrying, but, their contempt for remediation is even more worrying. They opened and closed an investigation in about 48 hours. They haven't announced any change in practice. For all they know, they're continuing to conduct sensitive business on Signal or on Gmail. For all we know, they are continuing to include non-administration officials on those message threads. There's no doubt that our allies have stopped sharing, to some degree, sensitive information with us because they just don't trust that we can keep secrets. So this is what you get when you hire a group of amateurs to run U.S. national security. You get an amateur operation.
As you said, your colleague, Senator Cory Booker, it was 21 hours, 21 hours and 20 minutes. Tell us what the impetus is. What happens exactly 22 hours ago to send him to the floor to embark on this extraordinary mission today?
Yeah, I mean, he is heading towards what, could be a record speech on the Senate floor. I mean, he still has 4 hours to go to break Strom Thurmond's record, but that would be absolutely remarkable. I've been with him on the floor for that entire period of time. He was there for me when I did a 15-hour filibuster in 2016, demanding votes on gun violence. And I think what Cory is trying to do is wake up his colleagues and, to a certain extent, try to focus the conversation of this nation. I know that there's a new outrage every single day, but this week in the Senate, we are voting on maybe the most massive transfer of wealth from the poor and the middle class to the rich in the history of the country. $1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid, the insurance program that covers 24% of Americans, and nutrition benefits, in order to finance a massive tax cut for the very wealthy, the richest 1% of Americans. And so I get it that people are distracted between Signalgate, a legitimate scandal, Greenland, the president saying he's going to run for a third term. But the thing that matters to most Americans is this bill that is going to rob millions of families of their health care. So I think Senator Booker is trying to use this exceptional tactic, commandeering the floor for 24 hours, as a means to try to focus Americans and our political conversation in Washington on the thing that matters most.
You used an interesting term there at the beginning, trying to wake up your colleagues and wake up the country. Do you think that has been achieved?
Well, I mean, I've just seen, how many people are paying attention. Last time I checked on TikTok, which is frankly where a lot of America's political conversation is happening today, whether we like it or not, there were upwards of 70 million interactions. That's extraordinary. That's frankly a lot of Americans who are not plugged into politics on a day-to-day basis, maybe finding out for the first time that their family is about to lose their health care. And of course, the margins are really slim in the United States Senate and the House of Representatives. Mm-hmm. We only have to convince 2 or 3 Republicans, and maybe something that Cory said, who speaks with such moral authority, will have an impact. If it has an impact on just 1 Republican, it may be the difference between passage and failure.
It's such an interesting point. We peeked over at the social media stickiness of this, and you're right. It is almost happening in a parallel universe to sort of the dizzying blur of altogether nonsense coming from the White House. But if we're having that conversation, the most oft posed question in the social media coverage of what Senator Booker is doing is, does he get any bathroom breaks? And I wonder if you can answer that one.
He gets no bathroom breaks.
Yeah, I thought that was the case.
I went through this for 15 hours. It's quite different for 24 hours. No bathroom breaks. Can't sit down. Can't even move from his desk, or he loses his right to remain on the floor. So, yeah, a pretty stunning biological feat being pulled off by Cory Booker on the floor of the Senate right now.
Senator Chris Murphy, I know you ran out. You're supporting him, but you ran out to talk to us, and for that we're grateful. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.